It's Miss Tay Rosé. For this video, we're going to be doing a 2-in-1 at the same time. So I'm going to be doing this golden eye look, and I'm going to be using the Beauty Glazed Perfect Eyeshadow Palette, which is a dupe to the Huda Beauty Perfect Nude Palette. I'm also going to be using the NYX Ultimate Edit Petite Eyeshadow Palette in Utopia, this e.l.f. liquid lipstick in 24 karat gold with the e.l.f. Retro Paradise collection, and I'm going to be using the Handaiyan glitter liner in the shade 02. It came in a pack. I'm talking to y'all about my favorite Netflix shows, or the Netflix shows and movies that I've been watching during the pandemic. So if you'd like to see me achieve this makeup look and talk about my favorite Netflix shows and briefly about how each of them are, then please keep watching. As you know me, we were all in this pandemic for about 8 months or so. I mean, almost a year, practically a year, I should say. And one of the top things I did was focus on what was on Netflix, because I mean, you can't come out the house, you're in quarantine, so it's like,
what do you do?
So that's exactly what I did during the time of the pandemic. The first show that I watched was Never Have I Ever, and that is by Mindy Kaling. It's about this Indian girl who is in high school, and she pretty much is going through life as a sophomore student. I mean, there's a lot of ups and downs in that show. I mean, there's a lot of happy moments, a lot of funny moments. There was also a lot of sad moments, and I really like that show because I feel like that is very reflective of what's happening to a lot of kids now and kids way back before Never Have I Ever came through. I'm very happy that season 2 for that show is coming back on Netflix because it's such a good show. I'm just excited to see what Mindy's going to put within the second season. If it's going to be a reflection of junior year of high school, if it's going to be a continuance of sophomore year. I'm curious as to know what's going to happen. So I mean, that's one show that I'm excited about. And then another show that I'm the most excited about is You.
I mean, I'm not saying You. I mean, like the show You.
Because there was a lot of twists and turns. I mean, that was recommended by my niece. I mean, my niece put me onto it, and she also put my sister on to it as well. And I watched those first 2 seasons, and I was just like,
oh my goodness.
It was a lot to take in at first, but then after you take in that information, you're just like, okay, so this is Joe Goldberg. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that is the life of Joe Goldberg. And then at the second season, it only gets worse towards the end. Because it's not just Joe who is into that type of stuff. It also is his girlfriend, Love, that's also into that type of stuff. So I'm excited to see what season 3 has in store as well. Because I know that show is coming in January of next year. Or January of 2021. Yeah, I'm excited to see what they're going to do to add on to that. What they're going to do in season 3. Like, are they going to have Love be obsessed with their neighbor? Or are they going to have Joe and Love be obsessed with their next door neighbor? I mean, who knows at this point? And I know too that they're also going to have a daughter. So I'm like, is the daughter going to follow their footsteps some odd years later? So I mean, I don't know. It's just that I'm questioning that I'm thinking about right now. As I mean, season 3 is supposed to be coming through, you know. The reason why I'm watching Never Have I Ever is because I love Mindy's work, and her work is really good. Because I used to watch the Mindy Project, and then I don't know what happened to it. It all of a sudden stopped playing on Fox and then switched to Hulu. So I just stopped watching it, unfortunately. I've also watched this other show. This one was more of me wanting to watch it. It wasn't recommended by me at all. And that is...
I'm cracked right there, so pardon me.
I love Blood and Water. That show too has a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of happy moments. There's a lot of sad moments. I know one of the sisters went missing from she was little, and the family had just found, they're trying to find her, but the sister Ben found her, switched schools and everything just to get close to the sister without the sister being all creeped out and whatever. And then it gets revealed for the final season 1 finale. And I'm so happy that Blood and Water got picked up for a second season. So I'm intrigued to know what's going to happen for the second season. I mean, the sisters that went missing end up meeting the family. I mean, what is going to happen? I mean, is the adoption company or the adoption company going to get in trouble for stealing babies? Like, what is going to happen? I mean, that's what I've been thinking about. I've been processing that in my head since Blood and Water has been finished. So I mean, as I'm going on to the shows, I suppose I just want to talk about the movies that I've been watching during this pandemic. And there's been a lot of movies, sadly, that I've had in my list that I have yet to watch. And so I figured,
why not let me watch it, you know what I mean?
I watched Fractured, and that was recommended by my sister. I mean, that was a huge twist right there. I mean, I did not expect for it to turn out like that, that he was the one that the father was the one that killed his wife and his daughter on their way from his in-laws' Thanksgiving feast. Like,
that was epic.
I was just like, oh my gosh. It's like he was like reliving that situation without them actually being there. If you haven't watched that show, I don't want to tell too much. I suggest you go watch it. It is Fractured. Another movie that I watched too that was really good. To All the Boys I Loved Before, and To All the Boys I Loved Before, P.S. I Love You. I really loved that. I mean, and I'm happy that that is a trilogy. I'm excited to figure out what the third one's about. Rumor has it that Laura's character is going to break up with Noah Centineo's character. That's what I heard, but I don't know if that's true or not. I know there are books out there with regards to All the Boys I Loved Before. So, I mean, I don't want to put it out there and it's like, oh, they have not broken up. But I'm intrigued to know about the third movie to see what's going to happen. I know recently during the pandemic, I have also watched The Babysitter with Bella Thorne. And then not too long ago, I also watched The Babysitter Killer Queens with Jenna Ortega. And that was very epic. I mean, I like how they made it different versus the first one where all of them were in that cult to get what they wanted. They pretty much wanted to out their competition in an easy way. And in technicality, you have to work hard for what you get. You can't just have everything handed to you like a plate of food. You know what I'm saying? And so that is the moral to that story. But then I don't like at the end of The Babysitter Killer Queens how there was the book still there. I did not like that at all. So, because I thought it was going to be like, okay, there's part 1 and part 2. The franchise should be done. It's going to keep on going. So I'm like, okay, it's going to be a new set of kids with that book and they're going to perform these rituals to get what they want? Or are they just going to leave it like that and leave that as a cliffhanger? I mean, I'm intrigued to know what's going to happen with that as well. This is my first time like talking to y'all and doing makeup at the same time, but I just wanted to do something different instead of it to be me doing makeup and I'm just like not focusing on y'all and I'm just focusing on my makeup. And I just wanna get to know y'all and just figure out what y'all been watching through this pandemic. So I mean, if there's any recommendations you have of any Netflix shows, then you can comment that down below as well. One recent movie that I watched was Hubie Halloween, and that mess was really good. I love Adam Sandler and his work. I love his work, and I love to at the very end. I know this is very sad on top of what I'm watching, but I like how they did that tribute to Cameron Boyce. I really like Hubie Halloween because it wasn't just funny, but there was also a message attached to it that no matter how mean people are to you, it's still best to be kind to those people. It's like do unto others as is done unto you. Like, yeah, I mean, Hubie was made fun of and his mom was sick of it, but that was Hubie's way of giving good back. And I mean, I feel like I like that message behind Hubie Halloween. But aside from that, it was so messed up before the true message came across, how like he doesn't like Halloween, he doesn't like scary things, and so like the pranks at work was so messed up. The neighborhood kids would make fun of him and they would chase him down and throw things at him, and Hubie's good at dodging all that people be throwing at him. He's good at dodging those objects, just dodging it on the bicycle and whatever. I can say that there are a lot of good shows and a lot of good movies that are coming out on Netflix, and I'm excited for those. Alright, so I'm gonna put on this glitter for a second. Oh yeah, I mean, I also have watched Sextuplets as well. I mean, that's a really good show as well. I also love Marlon Wayans and his work too. It's about obviously 6 kids, you know, and I'm like, they all have different personalities. I mean, there's one that lives with the mom, and he obviously eats a lot of cereal, and then you have the normal one that is about to get married, and then his wife is like,
do you have any siblings? And
he's like, I don't know, because I mean, I was adopted, and they went through all this trouble just to find the other 5 children, and it comes down to it, their mom kept one, but then gave the other 5 for adoption. Like, that part was messed up, but then it's like, man, the mom, I figured out the mom was trying to make it easier on herself. I mean, it affected the other 5 children in the long run. A lot of them, I mean, I think a couple of them, it didn't mess them up that bad because they were successful. But then the other 3, or even 4, because even one that lived with her wasn't as successful either. But the other 4, it messed them up where like they probably in jail. I mean, they were stealing, or they just sat in the house eating too much cereal. So I mean, I really like Sextuplets. I wanted to watch 50 Shades of Black, but 50 Shades of Black is not on Netflix. I also have watched Naked by Marlon Wayans too on Netflix, and that movie is very, 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 very funny. It is very funny, you know. And so I wanted to, and so I watched it, and like I just kept laughing each time because I mean all the bad things that could happen. I mean, and the Marlon Wayans character was trying to make everything right before the wedding, but then it turns out that every time like he just kept messing up. You know, and that was with him not being prepared enough for he wasn't prepared enough with his groom outfit. He wasn't prepared enough for his vows. He didn't prepare the invitations. It was like everything that his character did went horribly wrong. And so I just was like, oh my goodness. I mean, it's just like all you gotta do is just like make everything right the first time. But I mean, I guess it was just showing how you can't slack off. You gotta make everything right the first time around, and then everything will be good. I mean, I watched that show a while back. I also heard about this show 100 where it's like they do experiments on people. So I want to know from y'all if that's true or not. I mean, I was going to watch it and then I just changed my mind. I was just like, I don't want that, you know? I don't want that. On the flip side, I have watched some reality shows on there. I mean, one of them is Love is Blind, and it's such a heartwarming show. I mean, you get to watch people fall in love, and I was very happy for Cameron. Cameron knew exactly what he wanted, and I was happy. I'm happy for the girl because I mean, she's like me. We're both Jamaican and black, and we're trying to find the right person. But she found Cameron that first time, and Cameron was not letting go either. So I mean, I was happy for that relationship. I was sad for Carlos because I mean because the girl that he chose did not like him at all. She didn't want to connect with him, to say the least. She wanted to connect with Bartlett more than Carlos, and it was like, dang, that is messed up to the T. Can't be doing people like that. So I was just like, that was just, you know. And I know there was another one too where when they got to the altar, like the girl walked out the altar. I forgot whose story that was, but I mean they got back together, trying to make sure that both eyes match up. Because I'm talking to y'all, and I want my makeup to look good as I'm talking to y'all, if you know what I mean. I'm just gonna move on to the bottom part of my lashes. Another reality show that I watched also, Cooking with Cannabis, and this had Crease. If you don't know who Crease is, she was an R&B singer who is now a chef, and these chefs, they have to cook with different types of cannabis. And cannabis is the same as marijuana, and that's like liquidized marijuana. I mean, it looked so good. I was just like, oh my goodness. I mean,
can New York State legalize marijuana now? Like, seriously, come on now.
California. It was filmed at a legalized state. And so I'm just watching the show and I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, they're all cooking with different kinds of weed. And I didn't notice, but the different kinds of weed, it's based on like how high you get. Like if you have like one with like a lower dosage, then you won't get as high. It'll make you like mellow. Yeah, if you use a certain weed with like a high amount of dosage, then that would get you like in a different dimension, I would think. Even though I'm hearing that like when you become high or when you're, I don't see under the influence, but I mean when you take a puff, that, I mean, there's a lot of theories going around. One theory is that there's and I feel like this is from people that want to pretend to be cool, because even my niece and nephew be telling me about their classmates and whatever. When you get high, you see things and like you hallucinate. That's what I heard. But then I'm hearing from other people too that is not the case. That you don't get high, that you just simply you're just chill and you're mellow. The only time when you like kind of like is if it gets laced with something else other than THC, and that is the kind that you don't want. Anyway, moving on to Cooking with Cannabis. It was such a good show, and I like how Crease she brought on a lot of guests, whether they were comedians, they were rappers, they were musicians, whether they were reality TV stars. She brought anybody on that show to test out the food and get high at the same time. I mean, I like that show a lot, so I'm hoping that Cooking with Cannabis gets picked up for another season. But I understand with the pandemic, there may or may not be another season, but hopefully there is. If you've watched Cooking with Cannabis before, do let me know in the comments below. If you have not watched it, then I suggest you go and watch it. I mean, so that's what I've been watching on Netflix. I mean, just this pandemic, I've been obsessed with cooking shows, especially on Food Network. But I mean, I just wanted to nest everything into Netflix for right now, you know. If you want to hear about some of the cooking shows that I'm watching, then you can comment that down below and I will delve into some cooking shows I've watched during the pandemic. But yeah, I mean, I'm just going to add on my tear ducts and I'm going to tell you about my lashes for the day. I'm just going to delve into the lashes I will be wearing for today, and that is the EBIN New York Mink Cat Contention 3D Lash, and this is 100% real mink lash, and this is, according to EBIN New York, is the #1 3D lash, and you can wear this up to 30 times. And this is a mink texture and it has that 3D eye effect. Now, the lashes that I picked up is Peridot. When I looked at this at first, I thought it was
Period.
I remember this time the code is MCR008. So I'm just going to put these bad boys on and I'm going to show you how they look on myself. This is Peridot on myself. I mean, by me looking at it, I mean, it looks like it's very everyday. I can tell you that. So if you're someone that's not fond of dramatic lashes, then this is for you. And I also love too how this is giving me real Catitude vibes, if you know what I mean, because the very ends of the lashes, they spike out. I have lashes like that similar to what I have from Lashes by Giselle, where the very ends just come out. It's like, and this gives you like a natural wing without you actually doing a wing liner. So I'm just gonna move on to my lips. So I mean, the first liquid lipstick that I'm going to delve into is the Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lipstick, and this is in the shade Ashton. But another similar lip color that you can wear to Ashton is the Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink Coffee Edition in Chai Genius. Okay, so I mean, this is Ashton. I love this color a lot, but I also want it to be a little brighter, or not brighter, but a little lighter. So I'm gonna delve into the e.l.f. liquid matte lipstick in the shade Praline, and that should make it lighter. I thought Praline would have made it lighter, but in technicality, it does not. So I didn't think it would come down to this, but I'm gonna use my Busted O Tartist liquid lipstick in the shade Birthday Suit. Alright, so I mean, this is a look. I mean, I got my golden eyeshadow with a little smoke here and there on my outer third. I got my cat lashes, make it seem like I got liner on when I really don't. And I got my nude lippy. This is more like a brown nude, but it's all good. So this is definitely Tay Rosé approved. Thanks so much for watching this video and hearing me blab about my top favorite or about my favorite Netflix shows. Please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you can see more of me. Also, comment below your favorite Netflix show and your recommendations. If you have not already, please be sure to click on that notification bell so that way you are on the alert as to when my videos are out. And that is all I have for now. Please be sure to check out my previous video and section that's coming up next, and I will see you there. Bye.